What is an odd behavior of yours you think only you do? I have noticed I often sniff when I enter a room, so I don't scare people by just talking out of nowhere. Your friends probably think you've got a crippling cocaine habit. Plot twist. That's the actual reason. I have hyperhidrosis, fancy word for sweating a lot, and my t-shirts are constantly sticking to my armpits. To unstick them, I just lift my elbows up and down a time or three. Basically, I flap my arms like a chicken. Most of the time, I don't even realize I'm doing it. Imagine having a conversation with someone you have never met, and they randomly start flapping like a chicken out of the blue and act like nothing just happened with no explanation. I'm fucking dying at this image. I love it. It's poultry in motion. Talking to myself in gibberish when I'm doing something, as though I were explaining what I'm doing. I imagined a guy doing the dishes and talking like someone from The Sims. Laughed my ass off. Sul. Sinchiwanidu. See how far ahead I can walk with my eyes closed before I get freaked out and have to open them. I blow on my ice cream to cool it off. I'm not really sure. I wasn't even aware I was doing something weird until my GF noticed and said, "You know that's not hot, right?" Brain. I got this. Food very temperature. I'll learn from soup. In the shower, I slowly rotate to keep myself evenly warm. I do it unconsciously now, like a rotisserie chicken. I tap every time a dashed line goes past the car. It's like a perpetual game of Guitar Hero. Yay, but do you use the invisible saw extending from your finger to cut down telephone poles when you're in the passenger seat? Mine's a laser beam. Mine's a broadsword that cuts everything down. Mine's a little stick tube that parkers next to the car. Every time I bend over to pick something up, I pretend I just unknowingly dodged a bullet from some faraway sniper trying to take me out. Sometimes I shoot fingers guns for no reason. Stop dodging. I rub the tip of my nose, and after a while it starts to feel really nice, and I get a mild sensation not unlike an orgasm. So now I've been rubbing my nose for longer than I'd like to admit. Yeah, me too. Nothing happening though. Shake my butt when I'm lying in bed. Hey, you should meet my roommate. I wake up every morning to him just fast asleep, but vigorously shaking his butt. What the cinnamon toast fuck? Does he realize he does this? My alarm is set to 7 AM. I can't remember when I last had it go off, because I wake up at around 6:15, and spend some time on my phone, before unsetting my alarm, and getting in the shower before 7 AM. My alarm is set to 7 AM. I can't remember when I last had it go off, because I wake up at around 7:30 in the afternoon. I wiggle my right foot really fast when I'm falling asleep. Never be lonely anymore. I have found my sisters and brothers. I once slept next to a guy that did this while I was already asleep. It woke me up. I thought he was jerking off next to me. It was really disturbing. I hear noises in multiples of 8. Not that I hear any sound 8 times, but if there's a noise that repeats a bunch of times, I hear it in my head again and count it, using 8s. Are you a musician? Being stuck in 4/4 times so often, it would make sense. Wow, you guys, I never thought of it as being 4/4 time, but it probably is. Now I feel dumb. Lol. I did used to write music, and I have years of piano and voice training, so yeah. Reddit, we did it. I make sure to make a splash noise when I pee to make sure I'm not sleeping and pissing the bed. Has it ever saved your bed from smelling like pee? That's the hard part. I haven't pissed my bed since I started it, but correlation does not equal causation. Also, be careful. Something you do ritually in daily life can occur in your dreams. Sometimes I wonder if there's actually people who can see into your mind. So I start thinking about really interesting things, so if there is, they won't think I'm boring. I scream as loud as I can, mentally, and think of really fucked up shit. If they look uncomfortable after that, I then know that they can. I'll sometimes do the Homer Simpson bit. I know you can read my thoughts, boy. Meow 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 meow. And if there's no reaction, I feel safer, haha. Habit that I've had since childhood. I play with my ears, especially when they are cold. I fold them and scrunch them and can fit them into the ear canal until they unfold and pop back into form. Finally, one that I can relate to. I'll occasionally reread sections of a book where nothing much happens, but the characters are just chilling. It's almost like visiting friends. One of my favorite parts in all of the Harry Potter series is when Harry gets 2 weeks alone in Diagon Alley in Prisoner. Nothing happens. Just wish I could experience that myself. I make weird noises and gestures when I think no one else is home. Do you also check if there are no webcam after a while when it's too weird? Sometimes I spell a word in my head over and over until it seems like nonsense. Using random number generator apps to dictate how I set my daily to-do lists. Sometimes when I get bored, I explain modern things to Benjamin Franklin, music I listen to, or how my phone works, etc. Sometimes I go even further back and explain it to Socrates or a caveman. Sometimes it's philosophical. Sometimes it's just stupid. I don't know why I do it, but it's very entertaining. I used to do something like that on car trips, only I'd pick a time period and imagine what a philosopher, monk or otherwise educated person from that era would be able to figure out about what I was seeing. When at the library or bookstore, I sometimes open a book I know I will read at some point, but not right now, and read a random line at a random page. Then, maybe years later I will read the book, and when I get to that line that I have forgotten all about, and get the most powerful feeling of déjà vu, I will remember what the world felt like, smelt like, the sensations and feelings I had while reading that line. It's like little gifts of memories to future me floating around in various books. That's beautiful. As someone who gets a lot of déjà vu, I want to try this. Each day when I come home from work, I say to my cat Bruce Wayne, "Hi, honey, I'm home. Did you do your taxes? Or what? You did your taxes." In my head, if my cat were a person he'd be a tax accountant or something. My cat would be a Victorian street urchin, if he were a person. There's a fine laptop you've got gov, real warm like. Mind if I sit myself down? Knew you wouldn't object. A true gentleman you are. It kinda weird, but I like to rub my feet against each other under the covers. It calms me down and helps me fall asleep. I do this, but unconsciously. Sometimes when I'm listening to music I play a game where I tap my fingers to the syllables. If the sentence ends at the pinky or the thumb I win. If not I must continue until it ends up at one of them. I say things to myself to break a train on thought, like I love you, or I'm sorry, or you got this, just to keep myself going on the right path. Probably be weird if someone walked in on me trying to motivate myself out loud. Positive affirmations. Good work. It's important to be nice to yourself. I give objects itches or I scratch it for them because they look itchy. I like that. In my head I make a plan to rob any business I enter. I make note of security, cameras, employees. I think about what part of town I'm in and try to estimate what the police response time would be and possible escape routes and so on. I'd never do it of course. It's just a mental exercise. I made the mistake of telling my wife about it, and now when we go out she notices and tracks my eyes and says stop that. You're so weird, lol. I'm gonna steal this one. Have a plan first. When I'm watching a movie or TV series and something bad happens to a character I really like I can't handle him being sad or distraught. So I stop watching it. It's a real problem I have to force myself to continue. Because if I wouldn't watch anything until the end. It's been like this since I was a kid. I can't watch sitcoms or other awkward drama shows. I put myself in the show, not as a character. Just like I'm watching it happen IRL or something. I'm firmly aware it's a show, and that I'm not there, and it's not here, and I can't stand those awkward moments. And most sitcoms are built around that. I'm very picky about what I watch, lol. Not the same as yours, but it feels like a cousin to it somehow, closed bracket. Ugh, me too. I cannot stand cringe humor, because it just makes me so overwhelmingly uncomfortable. I get weird compulsions that I need to touch between my pinky fingers or touch my armpit. It's more like a tickling sensation that builds until I have to relieve it by touching it. I have no idea what causes this, and I haven't heard of anyone else that has to do this. Maybe some form of mild OCD. I knew a girl with Tourette's that described this, but instead of touching to relieve the sensation she had to hit it, she was just constantly hitting herself.